Mayor, by the way.
Thank you.
Tonight, we're here to give money away. We have the roll-off box down at Terry's Hardware, and it's for different youth groups. And the last quarter was for the Hope Youth Group. And there was a total of 32.64 tons. And so we will be handing them a check for $489.60. And part of this program is that the group has to keep it clean around the dumpster there at Terry's Hardware. And again, this group must have did an excellent job because we never got no calls that there was any messes. So that's good. So I don't know if there's anybody here from that group to take the check. Okay. Well, we'll have to get a hold of somebody and give that to them another day. Have Stacy get a hold of them tomorrow. And then I already gave the fourth quarter revenue share check to Julie. And then just wanted to let you know that the next group for the Terry's Cardboard happens to be the Cub Scouts that are here tonight, Group 444. So that's all I have.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Roy, for your presentation.
All right. You have a nice evening. Thank you.
Next, could we have approval of the amendment of the minutes? Council members, are there any corrections or additions? Seeing none, they are approved. Council items to be agended, or to be considered, sorry. Council, are there any council items to be considered? Tina, or as Councilmember Fulch?
Thank you, Your Honor. I would like to add an item under administration. I'd like to address the federal government shutdown that's currently occurring.
Okay, we will put that under administration.
Thank you.
We will move to the consent agenda. And I'll need a motion. Councilmember Layfield? Second, Councilmember Wilsonic. Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion prevails. So, tonight we have a public hearing on a proposed ordinance amendment modifying the standard city council meeting procedure to include the Pledge of Allegiance and to move the public comment and suggestion section up to earlier in the meeting. I will now hold a public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak to this? Council? Oh, sorry, close the public hearing. And then, council? No discussion? Yes?
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. I had a question about the idea of moving the comments and suggestions earlier in the meeting. Is the purpose of that to allow people to bring things that they could add to the agenda, or is it to allow them to get out earlier, or what is the idea behind that?
Well, for my sake, from what I'm hearing is people would like to have their comments come earlier, and then they would be able to be dismissed earlier than sitting around for the whole council. Councilmember Layfield?
Thank you, Your Honor. To speak to Councilmember Brock's comment on that, that's been something that I've mentioned once or twice over the last couple of years as well, is I think this would promote more community involvement. No offense, some of these meetings can get a little lengthy and boring for people who aren't involved in every single aspect of it. it's always informative to us, but other people are just sort of sitting there waiting for their time to be heard. So I'm really hopeful that something like this will allow for community members who might be a little more rushed on their time to be able to come and be heard and have something to say. My biggest comment would be that we find a way that this doesn't become a way where you get to, I don't want someone coming in and derailing a meeting. You know, I know when you've sat for 2 hours or 3 hours, you kind of tend to keep it short. But if we're doing this at the beginning, which I do support, I would want to make sure that, obviously, Mayor, that you're running that to a, making sure that people are being precise and talking about the subject at hand or what have you, because we do want the opportunity to hear everybody. So that would be my take on it, is that I'm hoping we'll get a better turn of people to talk.
To speak to the whole council on that, I would keep it timely with discussion for them, and I'm just looking forward to, like Lisa said, Councilmember Lisa said, I'm open to having more people come to the meetings and have discussion with us. Councilmember Vaughn?
I agree with that. I just want to, I think we're going to have to test it here, because will our recommendation is to react to that on that evening, or are we going to probably, in what I've seen in some cases, send it to a committee or send it to a commission for more discussion? I just think we have to be prepared for that, because it's always easy to say, you should do this, and we could get tangled up in we could have a very long meeting then. I just hope that we're prepared to say, great input, we'll send it to this, because we're probably not going to answer that question that night, in my opinion. But maybe we can with staff or council here for that. One last thing, Your Honor. I support the Pledge of Allegiance. I support the whole ordinance change. Do you think that the concept is, will our commissions follow the same, or is it not required of our commissions? Is it just for council meetings that will follow the Pledge of Allegiance, or should we be requiring, or just a suggestion to the commissions?
Thank you, Your Honor. The ordinance amendment that's in front of you would only control council meetings, so it would not have to be sent out for commissions. Those have some of their own ordinance sections that might detail in some respect the process for the meetings, but they're not as detailed as what's set out for the council. So I think that won't be more of a policy decision to pass down to the committees and the commissions on what the council's wish would be there.
Thank you. Yes, Councilmember Wilson?
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm in full support of the changes to the procedures for our council meetings, especially the Pledge of Allegiance. Being a veteran, I think it is very important that we go through that process of the pledge. I've attended so many meetings over the years where the Pledge of Allegiance is said, and I've always had a bit of angst for the last few years being on the council that we have not said the pledge. When I first got on the council, we actually didn't even have an American flag or a state of Minnesota flag, and I talked to the city administrator at that time, Mr. Osberg, and asked him, why that took place. We did have the flags out as you come into the meeting area, but I always felt it was very appropriate to have the flags in the chamber itself. So I am in full support of this. Regarding the comments from the audience, having been a citizen prior to being on the council and attending other city council meetings in other cities, it's always been frustrating to me if I did have something that I wanted to say, that it was always held off until the very end of the meeting. So I think it's a worthy try that we can do, and acknowledging what Councilmember Vaughn said, we should be, I don't want to say careful, but we should attune ourselves to somebody saying something and seeking action. It is appropriate, I think, to send it to a staff member, to a council committee, to a commission. And that would certainly be appropriate. I don't think that, and again, there would be a rare instance, but I don't think that a comment from an audience member would require immediate action. So this is also for the public to be aware of as much as the council in general. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Lund?
Thank you, Your Honor. Yeah, and I also appreciate the Pledge of Allegiance for the American flag that we now have. So, regarding the adjustment of the meeting schedule, I like all of the suggestions that were brought forward as to how we might handle that situation as it comes about. And I'd like to add one more thing is that a lot of times we'll get people to come here because of something that is on the agenda and they want to speak to it. And so I do want them to have that opportunity, but they in that situation would definitely need to wait for that opportunity when that is on the agenda. So perhaps a suggestion for you would be to emphasize that at the time of calling that portion of the agenda, that this is for non-agenda items.
Sure.
Thank you.
Easily done. Thank you. Council, I will seek a motion. Oh, sorry. Councilmember Rocks?
I just have one last question. So, because the comments from the audience are now at the end, people have an opportunity to hear the whole meeting, then they respond. If they listen to the whole meeting and they have something to say at the end, would we then make another opportunity for them to speak? Would you ask again if there were going to be any comments?
Yes. Council, I will seek a motion. Councilmember Fulch makes a motion. Councilmember Lund, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion prevails. Next we have, Julie will be speaking to number 2 under administration.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. Tonight we're asked to approve the request for proposals for an executive search firm to assist with filling the city administrator vacancy. The RFP and the job description have been created and have been reviewed by the administrative committee of the council, chaired by Councilmember Brox, with council members Fulch and Lund. The job description will be finalized with the assistance of the selected search firm. And upon approval tonight, the city will begin to solicit proposals tomorrow from some select firms. We'll also post it on League of Minnesota Cities and on our website. And the proposals will be due back on February 13th. So I can stand for any questions.
Council, is there any discussion? Councilmember Fulch?
Thank you, Your Honor. I just had a couple quick adjustments that I was going to request under Section 3, Performance Specifications. Council members Brox and Lund and I had a very good conversation about how we were going to proceed with this. And something that we all agreed to is we are hoping the consultant that comes on board, that they would help us in formulating what the job description and the qualifications are going to be for the city administrator position. And so in that process, we were adding on an item here, and it's number 6, where it says, meet with the city council and senior management members, which may include individual or group meetings. I wanted to add on to that, just verbiage that says, at the end of that sentence, to evaluate job qualifications and job duties. And then move that from being item number 6 to making that like 2.5, so it's in between 2 and 3, so because then it follows a chronological order. I just want to make sure that it's clear that we're hoping that the firm will meet with city council members and then also senior management team members, so that we have a more robust discussion and make sure that we're getting staff input into what the final job qualifications and job duties will be.
Yes, Councilmember Fulch.
Thank you,
Or,
Mayor.
Lund, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Your Honor. If you could please reread what you'd like it to read as.
So, currently number 6, it says, meet with city council and senior management team members, which may include individual and or group meetings. And that's at the end. Before it, it says finalized job description. Number 5 right now says finalized job description and recruitment profile. So, all the numbered items before that are in chronological order. And so what we really want is we want them to meet with city council and senior management team members before they finalize the job description. And so that's why I was asking for that for number 6 to be moved to like 2.5, and then to add on to the end, just to clarify that what we want them to meet with us and the senior management team members is specifically to evaluate what the job qualifications and job duties will be. And this matters, because when you put this out for a request for proposals, that's what they'll be looking at for as they're creating their proposals. And so we want to make it clear that we want the consultant to meet with us more robustly. Otherwise, they could give you a proposal and they weren't anticipating that they would have to have those various conversations. And so then they wouldn't have that, it wouldn't be reflective of their price. And so that's why you want to make sure that you're very clear in the specifications as to what it is that you're requesting them to do.
Councilmember Vaughn?
Councilmember Fulch, I see where you're going, but when I was reading this, the performance specifications is just scope of service. It's all 6. I don't know what the committee talked about, but did they prioritize how they wanted to do it, or are we just looking to get, because we're looking to get a company to bid on this, is what this is. And so chronologically, they got to get all 6 is what we're looking for. It's not, hey, these are the priority things to do it. It's all 6. It doesn't, we could take the numbers off, in my opinion, just leave it as we need all of them. That's my 2 cents. So I didn't know why we're picking those, because I didn't read this thing going through saying, well, this should be up here, that should be down there. I'm assuming they were just, all of the items should be taken, so that's how I read it.
Your Honor, the way it currently reads, though, is it doesn't specify what it is that we want them to meet with us on in senior management team members. The way that it's currently in order, it looks like it that they want us to, they first want to finalize the job description and recruitment profile, and then meet with the city council and senior management team members. And it doesn't specify exactly what it is that we're asking them to meet with us about. And so I don't think it hurts at all to clarify, and it'll ensure that the proposals that we receive are what we're asking for them to do then. So that it's clear what our expectations are, because if you're not very specific about, those kinds of detailed meetings, they could provide you pricing and not anticipate that they have to have those conversations with the city council and senior management team members up front. And so it's just a matter of clarification, that's all.
Thank you. I want to make a point that Councilmember Vaughn is correct. These should be all, it's a checklist. I don't, take the numbers off, leave them, or whatever. We are going to hold that as an expectation, right? But I don't see the harm either in rearranging them if it makes things flow nicer, and perhaps all the other ones are maybe in some sort of cadence that is timeline specific, and then correct in number 6, perhaps not really saying what the meeting is about. So I would support that, and I make a motion.
Councilmember Lund makes a motion.
Madam Mayor, Councilor, is this a proposed amendment that Councilmember Fulch is making?
Thank you, Council. I would just propose that the motion be phrased in a way that includes the language that's been added, if that's what you're suggesting, and that the order reflect what's been proposed, so that all comes in as the main motion.
Okay.
We decide on that. It doesn't sound like you've got any opposition, but that's what I propose.
Thank you.
Maybe if you want to clarify your motion there.
Seek a motion then?
Thank you, Your Honor. So I'll rephrase my motion. I'll make a motion to rearrange number 6 to go below number 2, and to add the language that Councilmember Fulch has recommended at the end of number 6.
Thank you, Councilmember Lund. You may have a second. Councilmember Fulch. All those in favor?
Thank you, Your Honor. I just wanted to briefly talk about the federal government shutdown that's currently happening. If you turned on the TV today, you'll know that we're in day 32 of the federal shutdown. And in the last few days, I've had folks approach me. Ms. Roy with our Rivertown Media sent an email, thank you for asking, if we knew of individuals who were being impacted within our community and what the effects were. And so I have been monitoring, what's going on. And just a quick recap is that currently there are 6,000 federal workers in Minnesota who are no longer receiving pay because their various agencies are part of this shutdown non-compromise. And so what we do know is that probably the folks that are most affected would be TSA workers. If we have TSA workers, they may be the ones that are within our community. I have a cousin who's down in Owatonna who works for the prison, and they're no longer receiving pay but still showing up for work. And so it's really beginning to affect those families because we didn't receive, because there wasn't a negotiation today, those federal employees will miss their second paycheck, which would be this Friday. So I know I would be struggling very much if I had to go to pay checks without pay. And so those of us in the community who are trying to be more in tune with the effects, I'm concerned. And so I reached out to Chris Coop of the Hastings Family Service to ask if she was aware of any individuals within our community that had been affected. Or the second area of concern is around those people who receive food assistance through the SNAP program. And so I contacted Chris Coop of the Hastings Family Service, and she said that she wasn't aware of yet of any individuals that were coming through the Hastings Family Service that are specifically saying that they're a federal worker who has been furloughed. But she said that they welcome anyone who may be in that position, and that they have plenty of capacity, that they were very successful this last year in their fundraising efforts to things such as Gobblegate. So thank you, Mayor Mary, for doing that for our community. So she said, yes, please tell anyone that needs help to go to the Hastings Family Service. She actually did say that they may even be able to help with bridge payments to prevent a crisis. They receive those dollars through the county. And so she said, call just the general number, 651-437-7134. And they would be more than happy to help you in that. And I think that they're going to be releasing their own press release sometime in the next week or so. I also reached out to my pastor, Lloyd Menke of Our Savior's Lutheran Church, to find out if the ministerial group had any conversations or that they're aware of any impacts to date. And he had said that he hadn't heard word yet of anything, and that he agreed that if this goes on much longer, we may really need to start doing contingency planning for our community. If you really tune into what's going on in the news, they're saying that there is no end close in sight. I mean, literally, representatives of the president are saying it could go on for months. And so I think that it's prudent just to begin to have those conversations. It sounds like the SNAP program for folks who do receive food assistance is good through February. And Chris Coop also said that she felt that they could handle an influx of folks through February, but after that, it gets to be a little bit more unknown. And so Our Saviors is actually going to host a meeting for community leaders who would like to come together just for a quick 1 hour brown bag session next Thursday, January 31st. And again, that's only if we're still in this shutdown mode at Our Saviors in the Fellowship Hall. And so it's just brown bag, bring your own lunch, and if you're interested, we'll take orders for Emily's Bakery as well. And so the word has gone out to those folks who have participated in the Spark program, which is a summer youth program. Make sure kids are having midday meals and keeping active, and they're looking at actually expanding that to the senior population as well. And so, and I've also reached out to our chamber president, Christy Bars, and our Commissioner Slavic as well. And he's trying to bring in, folks from the county as well. And so, again, it's meant to be more informal, but just as a heads up, who is serving, which populations, and what are we looking at that might be a potential effect. I know that the state is currently going through all of the state programs that receive federal funding to ascertain what are the effects of state programs. And there's also discussion about there could be an additional 3,000 Minnesota workers who could also be potentially laid off because their positions are federally funded. So please, Lord, let it end and not get to that state, but I just really think that it's prudent that our community start to prepare for the worst, just in case.
Thank you, Councilmember Fulch. That's, it's a bit daunting when we hear these things and, we are surrounded by people who are going through struggles in life every day, and this just doesn't help the impacted ones that are living in our community, so thank you. Comments from the audience? Anyone here with a comment from the audience? No questions for the council? Any unfinished business? Reports from city committees, officers and council members? Yes?
Thank you, Your Honor. I did attend on January 10th the Hastings Environmental Protectors group meeting. It was over at Carpenter's Nature Center, and it was a really good conversation. I just wanted to bring up one issue that I hadn't heard of, and it was a discussion about a 2017 report. It was a study of water quality on 180 metro area lakes that was done by the Met Council, and our Lake Rebecca, the HEP, or the Hastings Environmental Protectors Group, they've been helping to do the measurements, the quality measurements. And what they have found is that our lake has degraded from being a grade D in 2015 and 16 to being an F in 2017. And in their conversations, they think a lot of that has to do with the number of geese that are on the lake throughout the year, and they have been looking into what could be done to prevent the geese from staying, year-round and hanging out on Lake Rebecca so much. And they think it has to do with the city's practices of grass mowing around the lake, that they're actually mowing the grass all the way up to the edge of the shore. And that studies show that when there is tall grass, natural grasses that are around the shore, that it makes the geese more uneasy, and they're more unlikely to stay around and hang out on the lake. And so the idea is to keep the geese moving, because when they do geese counts on the lake, the population of geese are increasing. And so they were going to request a meeting with Chris Jenkins to discuss this. What can we do to help improve some of the quality of, because that's really startling that we only have 2 lakes in town, and one of them is getting an F. And, given it is next to the river, but supposedly the Mississippi River doesn't flow into the lake at all. And so it should be a little bit more manageable than it is currently. So I just bring that up as a heads up. And then the second thing that I just wanted to do a quick announcement on, it has to do with the Black family. And so I have 2 boys who are currently in high school, and one of them is a basketball player, and his coach has been Charlie Black when he was in middle school, and I can say that is one good man. And so unfortunately his wife, Melissa, has been diagnosed with breast cancer. She's a Pinecrest Elementary 2nd grade teacher. And so the Basketball Boosters Club, Hastings Basketball Boosters Club, is currently doing a fundraiser. And so they're selling t-shirts that say "Choose Joy," and to help raise funds. And they're having a Coaches versus Cancer basketball game at the Hastings High School on February 14th to help raise funds. And so I just wanted to make that announcement in case anyone is interested in helping to support the Black family.
Thank you, Councilmember.
Thanks.
Anyone else have anyone with us? Councilmember Ross?
So just along the lines of the administrative committee's process and what we have next in terms of the search for our next city administrator, going to review all the proposals that we receive from the executive search firms that we solicit. And so I just wanted to let everyone know where we're at, and then we'll be meeting the following week, February 28th, to interview those firms. So if you're following that process and you want to know what the timeline looks like, those are the next 2 dates to keep in mind, February 21st and February 28th.
Thank you, Councilmember Bratz. Anyone else? Councilmember Lund.
The Operations Committee will have a meeting tomorrow morning at 7:45 at the Public Works Building. And I also ask that, although not, I don't know how that works procedurally, we might have somebody that does want to speak in the audience. I think we maybe just missed.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Or I can drop. Never mind that. I'm wrong.
Okay, okay, thank you. Any other announcements from council? If not, I have a couple. Planning Commission will meet on Monday, January 28th at 7 p.m. at City Hall. And this Thursday, January 24th, is the Chamber of Commerce awards dinner. So, and as a council member now, all of us, I think we'd like to congratulate the recipients this year of their awards at the Chamber dinner Thursday night. So, if there are no other announcements, council, can I have an exception? Yes. Councilmember Layfield and Councilmember Bratz. All opposed, or all in favor?